right, ladies, here are your notes for worksheet 3-4. This is the distributive property. I hope you remember this from last year, and this will be just a nice review for you before we get into some more complicated problems next week. All right. Distributive property for multiplication is when you have a problem that's in this form. You have a number or a term on the outside, a set of parentheses, and then you have a sum or a difference inside parentheses. Okay. And for the distributive property, Board of Operations actually says that you're supposed to do what's inside first and then do the multiplication. The distributive property allows us to do this in a different order. It allows us to take this outside term, this, and multiply it times each of the terms that are inside, okay, separately. So that's what this would look like. We would take the 3 and multiply it times the 2x plus, because this is a plus, the same 3 and multiply it times the 5. All right, and then you get two separate terms. You want to simplify those independently of one another. 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times 5 is 15. 6x and 15 are not like terms. You can't add them together, so there you go. That problem is finished. This original expression is equal to this final expression. It does not matter if the operation in the parentheses is plus or minus. Just hang on to it, whichever one it is. So for the second example, we're going to say 5 times 6, and this time minus because the problem has a minus in it, and 5 times 4x. All right, 5 times 6 is 30, minus 5 times 4x is, 20x. I've got the 0. Now, I do not require that you rewrite that, but last year some of you probably had teachers who liked you to put the x first. Remember, if you change the order, that the sign, the negative here, goes with the 20. So it would be a negative 20x, and this 30 is positive, so it would be plus 30. But you can leave it like this. It's perfectly all right. Okay? Now, usually, about half of you actually like to do this without showing that step of work, and that's absolutely fine. You can do that multiplication in your head. Try to be really careful about it, or you can use your calculator to help you. Some people like to draw these arrows to help them remember what they're doing. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, plus, again, because that's a plus, and negative 5 times 4y is negative 20y. This answer is fine. You can, however, change that plus negative can be changed into a minus, and you can write the answer this way. Okay? Now, on this next problem, you have to watch out because there's more than one minus. Anytime there's more than one minus, more than one negative, you need to slow down just a little bit. Right here, negative 1 times positive 2 is negative 2. Nobody ever misses that. But the next one is one that people miss sometimes, right there. That's a negative 1, and we want to think of this as a negative 5. So a negative times a negative is equal to a positive. So instead of a minus here, I'm going to put a plus. Negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5, and so this answer will be negative 2k plus 5. The next few examples have fractions in them. You can use your calculator, although I've kept these fairly simple, but I'm happy for you to use your calculator here. On 5 and 6, I'm going to show the step of work. 1/2 times 4x plus 1/2 times 6. And then the next thing you're going to do is multiply that 1/2 times the 4 and the 1/2 times the 6. 1/2 times 4 is 2. Don't lose your x. And 1/2 times 6 is 3. In the next problem, you're going to say 2/3 times 6 minus 2/3 times 9x. And many of you will want to pick up your calculator to do 2/3 times 6. Make sure you push the buttons correctly, and that's a 4 minus a 6x. Again, you don't have to rearrange that. You can leave 4 minus 6x. You do not have to put the x forward. Okay, in the next two columns, I'm going to not show the step of work. This is also allowed. You can still use your calculator. I want you to pay really close attention to your signs. This is a negative times a positive, so that answer is going to be negative. 1/2 times 10 is 5. This one is a negative times another negative. You have to think of that as negative 1/2 times negative 4. So that answer will be positive. We're going to put a plus right here. Half of 4 is 2. Okay, -5 plus 2m. On the next one, -2/3 times 9. You can pick up your calculator if you need to do -2/3 times 9. That's -6. And -2/3 times 6. Again, you can use your calculator. This one ends up as negative. This one ends up as -4. Okay. I know there's 2 or 3 of you who like to leave this answer as a plus -4k. That's right. It's also okay if you have -4. Okay. Now we're going to extend this just a little bit to some of the things that we've done before. And a little bit I want you to remember right here is that if you have x times x, that you have to change that to x squared. Okay. So in this first one, we have 3x times 2x plus 3x times 5. One of the most common mistakes that I see on this is leaving the square off. When you multiply 3x times 2x, you do 3 times 2 gives you 6, and then x times x gives you x squared. So make sure you don't leave that square off. And then the second one, 3 times 5 is 15, and make sure you don't leave that x off. And just a reminder that you cannot add these two, they are not like terms. Okay? All right, on the next one, we're watching our signs a little bit here. -2 times -3. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to skip that step of work. -2 times -3 is +6. And m times m is m squared. -2 times +4 is -8m. And a reminder that these two things are the same thing. You can have this answer or you can have this answer. Okay, watching our signs again on this next one. -1 times +2 is -2. And that's a k squared, k times k. And right here, it's really important for you to recognize that that's a -1 times a -5. And that answer is going to turn out to be positive. So I want a plus here, plus 5k. Right? The only difference in number 12 and 13 and 14 is that instead of having 2 terms in the parentheses, we have 3 terms. That's okay. We're going to multiply this external 3 times the first term, then times the second term. 3 times 4 is 12, then times the third term. Each term is multiplied by 3. Number 13. Watching our signs again, -2 times 1, -2, -2 times -5, +10. Don't forget your x. And -2 times +2 is -4 x squared. And either the first answer or this second answer, both of these answers are correct with a plus negative or with a minus. And the last one, just put it all together, negatives, fractions, 3 terms, and I've written it backwards, everything that tends to cause a little bit of trouble. Just take your time. -1/2 times +4 is -2. -1/2 times -6 is +3, and there's an x. And -1/2 times -2 is +1 x squared. Okay? I'm going to just flip this one around because some of you like to do that. And also remind you that you don't have to put that 1 in front of the x squared. These answers are both correct. And one of the things that I don't see done as often in a pre-algebra class is distributive property for division. But it's super important that we understand distributive property for division. It's the same thing as the one for multiplication, except that we're going to divide both terms by your denominator. Both of them are divided by 3. So the word for this problem would be 3x divided by 3 minus 6 divided by 3. For number 16, it would be 3x divided by -3 minus 6 divided by -3. So just like multiplication, each term is divided. And then we'll do a little reducing. Some of them you can do in your head, some of them you're going to want your calculator for. This will be 1x minus 2, or just x minus 2. We've got a little sign thing we've got to watch out for here. Remember, this is positive divided by negative. So this answer is -1. And look at the second one, because this one slips by us sometimes. we see this minus and this one. So that is a negative divided by another negative. So that answer is going to be positive. So negative 6 divided by negative 3 is positive 2. So all the rest of these are just further examples of this distributed property for division. We'll do this with underneath. 8 divided by 2 plus 6x divided by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 6x divided by 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And don't forget the x. 8 divided by negative 2 plus 6x divided by negative 2. This is just here to make sure you're paying attention to these signs. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. And 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3x. Or you can change this to a minus if you want to. This answer is right. This answer is right. 10y divided by 10 minus 15 divided by 10. Well, 10 divided by 10 is easy, 1y. If 15 divided by 10 does not come out to be an integer, for the purposes of this, I want you to leave fractions as fractions and not change them to decimals, please. So just reduce that 15 over 10 on your calculator, 15 divided by 10, and then math 1. And you're going to get minus 3 halves. And this is the same problem, except the denominator is negative. So again, we're watching out for our negatives. 10 divided by negative 10 is negative 1. And right here, that right there is a negative divided by negative, so that answer will be positive. Okay, on 21 and 22, in our numerator we have x, and it doesn't have a number in front of it. Okay, x over 6 is what we usually say when we write that, but it's really x divided by 6, or actually, it's kind of nice for you to remember there's a 1 there. So when we write that answer, I want you to practice changing this from x over 6 to 1/6 times x. That's the kind of answer I want to see. There's going to be a big multiple choice section on your next quiz to make sure that you're getting this connection between x over 6 and 1x, 1/6x, and then 12 divided by 6 is 2. Same thing on the next problem. 8 divided by 4 minus, I'm going to put a 1x divided by 4 so that I can see that coefficient. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And instead of writing 1x over 4, I'm going to pull this part and make it 1/4 x. And then the last two are just taking this to 3 terms instead of 2 terms. Each term gets divided by 6. This one's divided by 6, this one, and this one. Each one of them is divided by 6. So 6 divided by 6 gives me 1x squared plus 3 divided by 6 reduces to 1/2, and I want that x beside it, 1/2 x, minus 6 divided by 6 is 2. And the last one, number 24, puts everything together, 3 terms, lots of minuses, including a denominator that's negative. Remember, you're dividing each thing by a negative 3. So on the first one, positive divided by negative is negative 1x squared. On the second one, negative divided by negative is positive 1x. And on the last one, negative divided by negative is positive 4. Okay, that should take care of it. You should be able to handle the homework without any problem.